So I was talking to a new client yesterday, and she was having a hard time opening up and talking about things, which obviously makes sense. It takes some time to establish safety in relationship and all of that, right? But she said that she felt bad sharing some of her stuff because she didn't want to burden someone else with it. She said she didn't want to ruin my day or someone else's day, and she just felt like it was a burden and it was too much. And I have heard that from other people. I've heard that from clients before, that they feel like they're too much in their lives and too much for me and too much for everyone, and that really holds them back from sharing a lot and getting more of the help that they need, because they just feel like they're too much and they don't want to put that on somebody else. And I think that's really important to talk about, because if you don't ever share and open up and put it out there, you're not gonna ever heal. You're just gonna keep that cycle going, that you don't feel like you're enough, so then you go into shame more, and then you feel negative more, and negative thoughts come, and you just keep going and going and going. And that's a really hard cycle to break by yourself. And if you're stuck in that negativity, you're probably not going to be able to break out of it by yourself. So if you never share with somebody, then you're never going to get help moving through, and you're just always going to feel bad like that, right? But I think it's important to talk about. And I also want to share some of my insight on that, and talked about some of this before a little bit in a different way on other videos, like what therapists think when you're suicidal and what therapists think when you cry and that kind of thing. But I want to speak a little bit to like therapist burnout, kind of, I guess. And when we do feel tired and we do feel like heavy, because there are times that happens. And there's been times for me lately where I've just felt really bogged down or really heavy, or I mean, the topics that we hear and that I hear are really heavy. I mean, I work a lot with trauma. I work with a lot of people who have suicidal thoughts and depression, and that stuff can just get really heavy and tiring. And sometimes I find myself feeling more down and sort of overwhelmed with it. And that is when I know I need to up my self-care. So that's like a signal to me that I'm not taking enough time for myself, I'm not taking care of myself enough. I need to practice what I preach and do some of my grounding work and some of my meditation, and maybe even just exercise a little bit more, and just get out there and do more things and have fun, right? I need to do those things to be able to stay in a good place for you. And that's my job. That's not your job. So whenever clients say things like that, these are all the things that I think of. So it's my job to take care of me and make sure that I'm in a good place and that I'm grounded and I can sleep at night and I'm okay. It's not your job. Your job is to share and to do the best you can to be vulnerable and keep working with me and working on your homework and doing all the things that you can do for you. Your job is to take care of you. My job is to take care of me. So yes, therapists get burned out sometimes and tired and overwhelmed and sad and all of that stuff. Of course, we're people, we're humans, and we hear the worst of the worst, so of course it gets to us. But that just means that we need to take care of ourselves a little bit more. We need to up that. And in the past, when I've worked with really, really acute clients and people that were hurting other people and that kind of thing, my self-care had to be crazy. I went to the gym at like 4 in the morning. My meditation was like the most it's ever been. I had to have those things to be grounded and to be okay and to not take that on myself. So we have to be in charge of that. So I know some of you worry more than others about whether, you know, you're impacting your therapist negatively, or they think negatively of you, or they're sick of you, or they're burned out of you. And I did another video on, is my therapist sick of me, as well, because that was a question someone asked. But I think this is important to remember. So if you're feeling like you're too much, or that your stuff is too much, or you don't want to burden somebody, I think it's good to reflect back on you and what's going on with you. And it's still good to share that with that person. Like, I appreciate when people share this kind of stuff with me. It helps me work through it with them and talk through it with them. Excuse me. And also reaffirm that, you know, my job is to take care of me, and my self-care is here to be able to hold your pain and sit with you and not get too overwhelmed, right? I hear and talk about things that other people probably would find too much because they're not used to it, they're not trained for it, and they don't have the pieces to support them in their lives to be able to handle it. So they would be like, ooh, you know? My sister feels the same way with nursing. So some of the stuff she faces in nursing, when she tells people about it, people are like, oh man, I don't know how you do that. But she is trained, she is skilled, and she has all her self-care and support there to help her do that. And that's the same for me. So yes, we get overwhelmed, of course, and sometimes more than others, and sometimes in more areas than others. Like if I have more clients suicidal or feeling that kind of stuff at one time, of course that's heavier, and I worry because I care about people, and I would hate to have someone do something and hurt themselves, and so that makes me more worried and stressed. So that means I have to really be on my game and taking care of myself to be able to come then and give you a calm and sort of present voice to kind of still be able to share all your stuff with. So yeah, those are my thoughts on all of that. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. It'd be interesting to hear from both sort of clients and therapists on this, on how you feel about it, and if you ever feel burned out, or if you ever feel like you're too much, or you know, you wonder if sharing your stuff is too much for your therapist. But that's what they're there for, right? Like I'm here to take on all of that. And for some of my clients, I'm the only one who they've told all this to. So I'm an important person, because if you're not telling me, then you're not telling anyone, and you can't hold that all in yourself. So try to find therapists that you trust and that you can share with, and that you can keep working on all of this with, because it's important. And therapists, take care of yourselves. Clients, take care of yourselves. We're all people, and we all need to take care of ourselves. So I always plug the self-care and the coping and all of that, because we have to have it to get through, or else we're all gonna go crazy, right? So yep, that's that. I'm done sort of going off on that. So let me know if you guys have any questions. You can always email me, submit a question on my website, comment below, and I will get back to you. All right, have a good day.